Well, good morning, Annalise. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm so happy to be here and happy Friday. It's great to be with you. I'm so excited that we are having a chance to chat. I want to get a shout out right away to our mutual friend Claudia, who set this up for us
Yes,
and got us
absolutely.
together. So, shout out to Claudia. Thank you. She's been a great referral for me. And I'm really, really thrilled that you're here. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super excited that we ended up being able to connect between her and I and you. It was great. I ended up loving the experience with her when I met, and then we ended up having conversation. She introduced me to a couple people, you yourself, then I introduced her to a few people. So connections are always wonderful. I love them.
I think they are the best. So, actually, speaking of introductions, maybe what I will ask you to do real quick, Annalise, is just say hello and introduce yourself to folks who are watching and listening to this right now.
So my name is Analisse Desrochers. I am with Wise Financial. We are an independent financial planning firm. I've been there for a little over 2 years now. Um, we take the opposite approach than what normal people do, just making sure that we build a relationship with our clients and we're building and establishing everything that they want and making a plan tailored to them. So we're not like the big corporate companies in that aspect.
That's nice. And you mentioned the community, and it sounds like the community aspect is really important to you as well as the personalization aspect. That's
Yes,
great. Yeah.
absolutely.
But, you didn't start there, right? You didn't start in financial services and financial planning. You worked in management and logistics for a really long
Yes.
time. You were at Target. Talk to me a little bit about how you made that transition from what was a very successful career in management and logistics into financial services.
So I just ended up seeing myself doing more than just being in a warehouse all the time. And it was great money
Mhm.
and I had no complaints about that. They are the reason why I was able to purchase my first house. Um, I just wanted more out of it. I
Yeah.
ended up pretty much accelerating and exhausting all of the roles that I felt like I wanted to be in. I didn't want to be the head manager. It's just not something that really was too keen for me. And then I ended up getting an opportunity with one of the guys that I actually went to high school with, and he works at Wise Financial as well. And I ended up just starting there as a client first off, and then I was like, "Wow, like, this is something that I could genuinely see myself doing." I love being able to help people out and just going about it in a different way because finances are tough for people. Finances are a weak spot, people don't like talking about it, and they see it as it being, like, not confrontational, but being an issue and insecurity to talk about. So really
Mhm.
just making people feel comfortable, and going about it that way, and then really once I ended up losing my father 2 years ago, that's really what ended up setting in for me and realizing, like, not everybody has everything set up for themselves. So when he passed away, he had nothing set up. So I had to do all that on my own.
Oh,
So really just making a difference in people's life. And if I can affect one person in a good manner so they don't have to deal with the same burden, because it unfortunately is a burden because it ends up becoming financial, it becomes emotional, and then you can't just sit there and grieve the process. You have to deal with everything else on top of it too. So that's really where I ended up just taking it and pretty much flying with it for my career. And it just pretty much made me motivate myself to be like, okay, like this is 100% what I want to do. It was the solidifying answer for me. So from there, it's been history.
yeah. I'm really, pleased to hear that something that was tragic, and I'm so sorry about the loss of your dad, but you were able to turn that into something that was a huge positive. And I think what you just said too, Annalise, really resonates with me. I've seen so many folks who, from a estate planning or financial planning or from a, personal planning perspective, they weren't set up and that burden falls on the families and, that burden fell on you. um, Career pivots are very scary, right? A lot of young women who listen to this show are contemplating career pivots, or are scared to do a career pivot, but you did it. Anything from that transition that really resonated with you? Was it something where you were like, "Oh my god, like I'll never be able to do this, but I have to," or I guess where did the courage just come from the necessity of what you had to do with your dad?
It was really just the urge to wanting more in my life. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I just can't sit here and stay stagnant, and
Mm.
I'm the type of person that once I was 16 years old, I've had 2 jobs since then. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just need more. I need
Uh-huh.
more. This is not all that life is cracked up to be. Like, we need more. I wanna be able to experience more. I wanna make more money. I wanna be able to set my family up
Yeah.
because fortunately, like, my parents did a good job. My mom, my father, and my stepdad did a good job at putting stuff in place for my brother and I, but
Mhm.
it still wasn't enough.
Yeah, I
So I
understand.
want to give myself more and even
Mhm.
just in the long run be able to help my family and set them up for future endeavors and make sure that they are set. Like, I would love to be able to retire my mom.
Yeah.
She's 52 years old. I would love to be able to be like, "Mom, just stop working. Just
Yeah.
live your
Well,
life."
that would be wonderful, and you'll get
Yeah.
there. I know you will. And look, like you said, you've already done something which is the biggest driver of generational wealth, and that is you bought a home, right? So
Mhm.
that's very impressive. Very, very impressive. Annalise, when you and I talked a couple weeks ago, we were talking about what you described as your education first approach. You have this very personalized education first approach for your clients. What does that mean, Annalise?
So making sure that people first understand finances because we're not taught this kind of stuff in school. If you don't go out on your own and learn it, or you hear somebody talk about it and it's something that is a light bulb that goes off in your head and it intrigues you, you're not going to go out of your way and do it. The most that we're taught in school is how to write a check. And to be honest with you, how many people sit here and write a check nowadays? Barely anybody, so I highly doubt people even remember how to do that. So
Right.
just making sure that my clients feel comfortable to come in because I have had people multiple times be like, "I was super nervous to meet with somebody." I've had somebody in the past come up to me and they wanna meet, or they're calling me on the phone, and I'm just super discouraged because I feel embarrassed. I don't
Right.
know anything, or I
Right.
feel dumb, or it's an insecurity of mine because a lot of people either if you have a lot of money, they see it as an insecurity because people will look at you differently. Just along with you not having enough money, people judge you and people look at you differently. So
Mm.
just making sure that the clients understand what is happening, what they need, and then also for us as representatives to understand what our clients need. Because if we're
Right.
not on the same page, then we're never going to be able to go anywhere. And it doesn't make sense for either one of us to work with each other. So
Mhm.
just making sure that we're both on the same understanding and just going about it that manner because finances are a lot and
Yeah.
we deal with pretty much anything and everything that you can think of. So everybody's plan is different. Your plan would be different than my plan, than
Right.
Claudia's, and then the person down the street. Like everybody's plan is completely different because none of our lives are the same.
We're all individuals. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
absolutely, absolutely. And what you said is so interesting too about how it's like this insecurity, whether you have too much money, too little money, there's so much insecurity around it. And culturally here, at least especially in the United States, it's such like a taboo topic to talk about. Like nobody
Yes,
talks about like how much they have, how much they don't have, how much they make, how much they don't make. And I'm not saying that, people should do what makes them feel comfortable. But to me, it's
absolutely.
very, 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 very fascinating money is a very fascinating topic, period, right? So,
Yes.
um, you
When
mentioned
I
the
when
oh, go
I
ahead.
actually first started, that's something that I never talked about myself. Like,
Mm,
that's why I originally excuse me, turned down the original meeting because I was like, "I don't need somebody else telling me how to deal with my finances. I don't need somebody telling me where to put my money. I just don't need it." I'm like, "I'm good. I'm all set." And then I actually was more open-minded, and then that's when I came in and I was like, "Wow, like, I actually needed this. This is
yeah, something I
something
needed.
that."
Yeah,
Yep. And I was like, "Wow, okay." So now being in the career and being on the opposite end of it, I notice a lot of people do that. So
mhm.
or they feel like they need to be rich to be able to have a meeting with a financial advisor, and that's completely false as well.
Right, absolutely. You had mentioned a minute ago, Annalise, like financial literacy and financial confidence, and we know for a lot of young women, you're a young woman yourself. This is like really hard for them, right? It's a pattern. They need to feel more confident about money, but they don't feel more confident about money. They don't know about retirement planning or insurance or investing. What's your approach to supporting women and financial confidence?
So I really just feel like it's not even just women, it's the human population as a whole, but
Interesting.
specifically
Yeah.
for women, for me, I just end up feeling like we need more support as a
Mhm.
whole.
Yep.
So statistically, there's only 41% of small businesses that are owned by women. All
Mm.
the rest of them are male dominant. Finances is a male dominant industry as well. So a lot of places are male dominant. So women are not looked at as equals in it.
Right.
So
Right.
really just pretty much proving ourselves to making sure like, hey, like this is something that we can do and just
Right.
making sure that it doesn't hold somebody back to
Yeah.
be able to hit their goals and their achievements because they are um what's the word? They are discouraged, looked down upon, they're not people are more prone to look at you, especially and I have realized this being a business owner, the people that are closest to you are sitting there not so much waiting for you to fail, but waiting to see, like, how it's going to end up going, and a
Great.
lot of your supporters are strangers, AKA
Yeah.
you.
You.
So
Right.
for that, I feel like you have more people that you go out of your way and you end up seeing strangers that support you more than what your friends are or your family, not saying that they don't support you. It's just a whole different it's a whole different pivot of
Yeah.
people and tailored to business as a whole. So,
And I can say you're not the first person I've heard that from, Annalise, right? So a lot of the women that we've had on this show have derived more support from like this community of strangers in some ways than their own friends and their own families. It's a very interesting phenomenon that you just explained there. And like I said, you're not the first person that I have heard say that or business owner say that to me. So that's very interesting that you're also experiencing that.
yeah.
When people think about sort of like, being a small business owner, you mentioned that we can make mistakes. There's a lot of common financial mistakes that we can make either as individuals or business owners. What are the kind of more common ones you see, Annalise, that you try to help people, your clients address, like their blind spots, things that they don't realize?
The biggest thing is tax mitigation, making sure that
Mm.
nobody wants to pay as much in taxes. So making sure that you can sit there and save money in one place or another and just end up using all the money that you have for revenue and
Mm.
cash growth and everything. Um, and then probably just I would say support. Um, and then when people, like, first start off not realizing all the options that are out there for them.
Mm.
So, grants, you have for, like, the city, you can go down and end up talking to somebody about that. So you're not using your personally owned money.
Right. Like small
Instead
business grants, right? Yep.
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 Yep, and a lot of people don't know that because
Mm.
if you're starting off fresh, brand new, again, like finances, you're not taught this kind of stuff unless you go out on your own and do your
Right.
due diligence and do your work, you don't know what's happening. And then I would say people spending like their own liquid money, like their
Yeah.
personal money, instead of getting a business account, a business credit card, and just making sure that there's a separation to see money coming in, money going out, and your own personal money and not
Blend.
combining them
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really smart. Elise, there's a lot of complexity to these topics: insurance, retirement, annuities, investments. It's a lot for people to kind of understand and kind of wade through. I know that it's really important for someone like you to kind of break down those complex topics for people so they have a strategy, so they understand and can act upon the information. Can you tell us a little bit about your approach to that?
So really just showing them first off because I myself am a visual learner and a lot of people I think it's easier to show them instead of sitting there explaining. So we'll do a side by side of showing an illustration for a life insurance policy, for example. Yours would be completely different than mine. Our age is completely different. So depending on when you start would obviously contribute a lot more. Being younger, you would have more money growth in there,
Mhm.
depending on how much money you end up putting in. So it all depends. For retirement planning is pretty much like the same thing, just showing projections. There's a couple different ways about it we can do. They have a 401k calculator. Depending on how much buckets of money and diversification you have, would
Mhm.
end up being able to show your projection. So, say like you have a 401k, say you have a Roth IRA, say that you have a pension still, depending on if you're with the state or something. So just to show all those projections of where you would be at in 20, 30 years when you go to retire to see,
Yeah.
okay, hey, do I have enough money to sit here and retire? Because money that we are making now is not going to be the same that we're going to need to survive later on down the road. So say
Yeah.
you have $100,000 now that you're surviving off of, later on 20, 30 years now down the road is going to be you're needing 4, 500,000 to compare to your $100,000 that you're living your same lifestyle now compared to
Right.
later because
Right.
inflation, taxes, and everything just going up.
Yeah.
So that's really how we would end up doing the comparison of
Makes sense.
where your projections would be at to get a visual picture
Mm.
instead of sitting here 20 years down the road and being like, oh my gosh, we're sitting here scrambling trying to figure out, do I have enough money to retire? Can I
Yeah.
actually retire at 65 or can I retire early? Do I have to work a little bit longer? What do I need to do?
Mm. Is there a misconception or a myth about money that people kinda often come in front of you and you just say, "Oh, man, I wish people would stop believing this is not true. You read this online or whatever. It's just not true." Do you see anything like that?
So a lot of the time, like, just actually recently, I've had quite a few clients that come in once their guard is down and they get comfortable. Like I
Mm.
said earlier, a lot of people think that you have to be rich to sit there and invest or
That's a
even
good
meet a financial advisor
yeah.
because you could be the average Joe walking down the street and I could sit there and help you and get a plan together better than somebody that is making $150,000 a year,
Right.
or we
Right.
can sit there and make a plan pretty much identical to that person too, and you don't even have to be sitting here making 80, $90,000 a year or more. Um, so that's definitely one. And
Yep.
then the next biggest thing in my eyes is people not understanding or only thinking that life insurance is only for when you die.
Mm. It's
A
not,
lot of
right? Because
people
it's a good investment
no,
tool. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
it
good
is.
investment vehicle. Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on what type of life insurance that you have, because there's a bunch of different ones,
Right.
some are better than others. There's also ones that are used specifically for different things if you need only a term.
This is
There's
whole.
whole life.
Mhm.
Yep. So there's a couple different ways to go about it, but there's also strategies to be able to leverage your money and use the money that you're putting in there while you're alive. There's also policies that have living benefits on it. So if
Mm.
something were to happen to you while you're alive and you end up becoming critically or terminally or chronically ill, that
Yeah.
that life insurance policy is going to pay you out to help for your business, your
Mhm.
not business needs, but
Your
for
personal
your
expenses. Yeah.
yep, expenses on making sure that you can pay for the medical, you can sit here and still live your daily life, or if
Right.
you just want to say, "Screw it, you know what? I don't wanna get this treatment. I wanna go to Italy for the next 6 months," and that's what
Yep.
you end up
And
doing.
that's what you
So,
do. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
yeah, however you end up going about it. So, there are a lot of misconceptions about finances as a whole. So,
Yeah.
really just trying to get out in front of people and making them realize, "Hey, like, that's not all that it
Yeah.
entails. That's not
Yeah.
there's a bigger picture to it,
Yeah.
to all of
Yeah.
it."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for breaking that down, Annalise. Thank you for both breaking down your approach to how you help people understand these complex things like annuities and insurance and 401ks and pensions. And also, I think your two misconceptions there, those to me really hit the hammer, hit the nail right on the head, right? The idea of like, I don't have to be rich to use a financial advisor, and people just don't really understand how insurance works. Um, you're licensed in 3 states. You're
I
licensed in
am
New York. Nevada, and Texas. That's pretty impressive. I'd love to know
Yeah.
a little bit more about that. But also, I'm assuming as you work with different clients across different states, you see certain, different personalities, different communities. Is there one community that you're really passionate about serving, Annalise, that really gets you excited?
Um, I would say women-owned businesses
Mm.
specifically is the community or the niche that I am in. Obviously, I'm not against working with anybody and
You work with
everybody. My
everybody,
door
I'm
is
sure.
always
Yeah,
open.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, the more the merrier, because why not? Why not?
Yeah,
Um, I just feel like making sure to empower women and pushing them to the next level of, okay, I feel comfortable, I feel confident, like
right,
this is where I should be, this is what I can be doing, and let me not stray away because sometimes when you don't feel supported or you don't know exactly where you're going or what you're doing, there's a lack of confidence in there and you're like, "Oh, well, maybe I should just give up. This isn't for me." So
right.
really just making sure for everybody, specifically women, just making sure that they feel supported as a
Mm,
whole in a
mm.
community because not not all women support all women, not all
Yeah,
men
true.
support all men, not everybody does that, so just making sure to stand out and making sure that people see the difference, and my clients see it.
Yeah,
My clients are like, "Yeah, let me have all my girlfriends come to you, like, this
that's
is we're
awesome.
empowering all women," and then just going about it that way, I
Yeah.
take pride in making sure that they don't feel judged, they feel heard, and their care, their concern, and their questions are always answered and taken care of.
That's beautiful. Do you plan on getting licensed in more states?
Every state that I possibly can. We also do work in Puerto Rico too.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, I would love to even expand out there as well. Like, I have a couple people that I know, um, they have businesses out there, they have family
Nice.
that live out there, so I would love to be able to be licensed in all 50 states.
Yeah,
Anywhere that we can do business, I would love to.
be able to do
Um
it, yeah.
Yeah, all my family is in Las Vegas, Nevada, so that is another reason why I am licensed out there
Because
because all my
you can
family's out
serve
there.
them. Yeah, you can
Yep,
serve them. Yeah, that's
and then I
awesome.
still have friends that I went to, school with that I
Mm,
still keep in contact with. So just making sure that I have um really that it's open, that I have an open door for anybody
yeah,
and
anybody who
everybody.
needs it. Yeah,
Yep.
that's really cool. You mentioned a second ago, Annalise, that you're meeting with these young women or women in general, and you're hitting it off with them, and they really trust you, and now they're referring their friends to you,
Mhm.
and that's pretty cool. I mean, do you feel like there's a way that you kind of approach relationship building, and does that take time, and what does that sort of look like? Is it really just the listening and the removing the barriers and making people feel comfortable?
So I honestly think it's different for every single person.
Mm,
I am more of an in-person, personable approach. I
mm.
would rather sit there and talk to you in person and meet you face to face and sit there and feel the vibe off of each
The
other. And
energy.
if it
Yeah, yeah,
makes sense, yep, makes
yep.
sense to even continue a conversation.
Mm,
Um, like I ended up meeting one of my clients at a networking event, and I honestly don't think that it would've went as well as what it did, or she would be a client if I never met her in person. So, like,
interesting.
business owners, I feel like are easier to meet in person.
Mm,
Everyday people, I also feel like certain things are it's a different approach for everybody. So, like, I can
sure.
sit there and call somebody on the phone, I can message them on social media. It just depends, like, not everybody is going to be okay doing that, or some people are better to reach over on an email. So, I just feel like reading the room and reading
Yeah,
somebody the person would end up making it easier. But I am more of an in-person type of person. I'm also just bubbly, so I wanna be in person and meet you
yeah,
and see how everything is going,
yep.
um, and just go about it that way. I think it's easier, and a lot of people I do tend to find that they would rather meet in person, that
Yeah, I
they
appreciate that approach. Yeah.
yeah,
I know
instead
someone
of sitting
who
over social media.
Yeah. I know someone who, I'm dating myself, right? But I know someone who used to sell advertisements in newspapers. Like he would say, to
Mhm.
businesses, right? But he insisted on going to, he could have done the job over the phone, right? Could have called you and said, "Hey, Annalise, this is, Richard from the paper. Do you want to run the same ad this week that you ran last week?" And you say, "Yep, I'll run the same ad." Very good. But he wouldn't do that. He would go to your place of business and look,
Yeah.
and have that face to face with you every week. Something he could have
Mhm.
easily just done on the phone. He insisted every week, "I got to go to the business. I got to sit down with them. I got to talk with them. I got to, make sure they still want to run their ad." Something that could have been easily accomplished over the phone, he made sure he did in person, right?
I wanna make sure that they understand, like, I actually care. This isn't
Mm,
just a job, like, this isn't
right,
just for the money. This is
right,
because I actually care, and I
right.
want somebody to be like, "Yeah, she took the extra step, she took the extra mile, and
Yeah,
she actually was dedicated to doing what I said, like, 'Hey, I need help with this,' or,
right.
'Hey, let's go about it this way,' or just making sure you're staying committed to your honestly, yourself in your business because you're doing a disservice.
Mm,
My biggest thing is that at the end of the day, I want to look at myself in the mirror and ask myself, am I satisfied with that? Would I be okay with myself being my own financial advisor?
mm,
And that's
mm.
really how I go about it because if you're not content yourself with what you did for somebody else, how are they going to be happy with it?
That's a really good point. I like what you just said there, that approach of like, would I be content with me as my own planner, right? Or yeah, and I think anybody can look at that in a service industry like you're in, right? Would I be
Mhm.
content with myself as, if I was their server, if I was their financial analyst, if I was their lawyer, if I was their physician, like I think that's a really important mantra that you just explained there. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. And I asked you already, if you planned on getting licensed in more states, and you were like, "Yep, I want to be licensed in every state, Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, etc." But what are some of your goals as you've been doing this for a little while now? What's the future for you like? Like, where do you want to go from here? I guess your own firm. I mean, where do you want to go?
So I do have some stuff in the works right now. I'm currently in the process of creating my own networking group for all
Nice,
women.
awesome.
Um, so specifically tailored, obviously, to women, just making sure, like I said earlier, that they feel supported, they feel
Yeah.
heard, and
Mm,
that there's a community or somebody or something that they can fall back on and say, like, "Hey, like, I'm really struggling with this. Like, how can I go about it?" More brains on the situation, I feel, are a better approach. That's kind of like what we do at Wise Financial too. So obviously, I don't know everything. I'm
right.
human. You don't know everything. We're going to end up bringing in other people to help each other out and
Right.
making sure that we create a plan for you. So that's kind of like the same in the networking group. I'm making sure that we all feel supported, we all feel heard and taken care of, and also just making sure that when I do have the people coming in, we are not overlapping each other. So
Hmm,
making sure that I have somebody for finances myself, or I have somebody in the beauty industry that's doing hair, and then I have somebody else that's doing nails. I have somebody that is a funeral home director. I
yeah.
have somebody that is in the school system. I have
Right.
literally just whatever it ends up
You're
being.
all complementing each other. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah. Yep.
absolutely. So we can sit here and refer back and forth and just like I said, the biggest thing is making sure that we all feel supported and heard.
Yeah.
Um, and then my next goal, and I'm working on this as well right now, is building a team of representatives underneath myself. I would love to have more females in the office. I am the only female in our New York office right now.
Okay.
So there's a lot of males, which I'm completely okay with that. I don't have an
Sure.
issue.
Sure.
Um,
Sure. Of course.
there's some females in the Atlanta office. There's some females that work remote, but I would love to be able to have more women in the
Sure.
office as a whole. Um, that's really, as of right now, my main goals that I have, and
Awesome.
just building a team.
That's great. When you and I first met, you told me about this community that you're building, and you told me about the
Yep.
types of people that you're bringing into it, and I could hear the excitement in your voice
Yeah.
when you told me about it, and I could see the excitement again today, and again, Claudia and others, though I know they're all part of that network and that community that you're building, and I know it's going to be a very, very valuable
Mhm.
thing that you're doing there. So, and congratulations on continuing to do that, and also building out your team at Wise Financial, your resource team. That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. All right,
Super.
I want to move to the lightning round with you. I want to know a few things more about Annalise the person. So, um, what is are you a coffee girl? Are you a tea girl? What are you?
I'm a plain Jane girl. Give me
Right,
some
right.
ice water
That's it.
and
That's
call
all
it
you
a
need.
day. Um,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah, coffee
Perfect.
would have me bouncing off the walls, like, more than what I already do, so I physically couldn't do it. You would never see me, I'd be like, "Beep, bop, bop, boop," everywhere, I couldn't do it.
Well, look,
But
none of us drink enough water, so I appreciate that's your go-to.
stay
That's good.
hydrated.
That's healthy. That's good. Healthy, hydrated body, hydrated mind. Very good.
Yep.
Um, Favorite quote, favorite mantra, the thing that you live by. Curious.
So, there is 2 mottos I guess I really genuinely live by.
Uh-huh.
One of them is, "What are you willing to sacrifice today to have in the long run for your
Oh, I like
future
that
self?"
one. I like that one. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
'Cause a
People
lot
don't
of
think
people
about that.
no, people don't realize it, and a lot of people wanna live in the moment, which is fine. I personally think that you have to have a balance because tomorrow isn't promised, 10
Yep.
minutes
Mhm.
from now isn't promised, but making sure that you live your life to the fullest, but still remembering like, "Hey, what do I need to sit here and sacrifice now that future Annalise is gonna be like, you know what? Thank you so
Thank you.
much that you did this 20 years ago,"
Mhm.
because a lot of people, like you said, don't think about that.
Mhm.
I also think it's a mindset shift for certain things, or if you've gone through a lot of stuff in your life, it just depends. Or when you talk to somebody, it's a light bulb. They're like, "Oh, you're right. I never even thought about it that way." Um,
And
and
it's
then
interesting
my
too because oh, I was gonna keep going, keep going. I don't wanna
you're
interrupt
good,
you.
you're good.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say people don't realize too that sometimes it's these very small sacrifices that they're willing to make
Yeah,
right now will have these major impacts on their future self, right?
yeah.
And they don't realize that. So it's
No,
really
they
cool.
don't realize it.
Yeah.
So I pretty much just said this. My second motto is that tomorrow isn't promised. So
Yeah.
living life to the fullest, but like I said, also just having a healthy balance because you're
Mm.
not gonna be like, "Oh, well, I'm only 20 years old. I can do this and that." But then 20 more years go by and you're like, "Oh wow, I'm 40 and I
Yeah.
never did anything that I
I
should have
never did
done."
anything. Right. Absolutely. I don't have anything saved. I don't own a house. I don't, all these things, right? Absolutely. How about this is a podcast about women, so it could be a woman, but it could be a man, could be anybody. Who's the person that you draw inspiration from? Who inspires you?
So I don't wanna sound cliche or
Yeah,
selfish,
yeah,
would like to honestly say myself
that's
because
awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
nobody's gonna do it for you.
Yeah,
If you don't go out and do it on your own, there's not somebody sitting here like, "Oh, no, go do it. You can do it. You can go ahead." There
yeah,
you can have your support system, but at the end of the day, it's you, yourself, and I that are sitting here. It's a yes or a no that you're
right.
gonna go out and do it. So just wanting more, like, I never
You ever said that?
feel
Yeah,
like fully done, like, I always feel there's more to life, there's so
I love it.
much more, even as simple as there's so much more to see, there's so many different countries, there's so many different states, there's so many
Yeah.
places that you can go, so, like, if you're sitting here limiting yourself to
Mhm.
something that you do, just think of, like, limiting yourself to things that you can see and go and experience.
I just love what you just said about the motto of "There's so much more to life," right? Just
It's true,
that's it. There's so much more to life. Yeah.
and it's
Um,
so simple.
yeah, it is. How about, the one thing you like to share with people that they don't know about you? Like, when they find this thing out about you, like, you love to share this one thing. Is there
Mm.
anything people don't know about Annalise Desrochers? Sounds like you live your life pretty much as an open book, but I'm just curious
For
if
the
there's some.
most part, I really do.
Yeah,
I'm very,
yeah,
very transparent and
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Um, I really don't think so. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. Most people will say to me, like, "What's something people don't know about you?" And I always say, "I don't think anything. I'm pretty out there. I'm pretty wide open." So it sounds
yeah,
like you're the same.
I
That's pretty
mean,
cool. Yeah.
my social media is I wouldn't say like my life, but you definitely I live through my social media, you see what I have. My dogs are my everything. They're like my
Love
children.
yeah.
Um, you my inspiration of my father passing away and where it goes for me,
Mm,
is on my social media as well, and I
mm,
just feel like also sharing stories of what you've gone through or your life, it really genuinely helps other people, and you don't know what
yes.
others are going through as well.
Right. Right.
So, I I don't really feel like I have anything that's like a hidden, deep, dark
Hidden.
secret or something that would be like, "Oh, wow, that's interesting."
Yeah.
I love to travel, I love to be outside.
Yep.
That's really, like, about it. I feel like a very normal person,
I
I
love
guess you
it.
could.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Well, I appreciate how you have taken the time to share your little life philosophy with us and also just talking to us about these personal experiences you had around your dad and what that meant to you and how it taking us back to what sparked your change and your pivot and everything that you're doing now to ensure the future and the security of people. I know your clients really appreciate that. So, Annalise, how do folks find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So my social media, I have Analyse Financials on Instagram. I have Analyse Financials on Facebook as well. We
Perfect.
have Wise Financial website, and it has all my information, my number, my email, and everything on
Perfect.
there. It has a bio, licensed states that I am licensed in are on there as well. Um, my personal Instagram also has the link for, meeting wise. If somebody wants to do a 15-minute call, they can set that up right there on my
Awesome.
business page too. So everything is really right on my social media. I have no issue reaching out to people, giving people my number anyway. Also on TikTok. So social media is definitely somewhere you can see all of the stuff that I
Get a hold
have.
of you. Yep.
And then pretty much our business website, obviously business cards, but if you see a business card everywhere I go, any business, I have a business card right here. Everywhere I go, they're always, "Okay,
There
here
is
you
getting
go,
it.
my
Yeah,
place."
that's
Yep.
awesome.
And
That's
I've had
outstanding.
people that have been at restaurants or they'll sit there and they'll see my, business card out and they'll send me a picture of it, and I'm like, "Oh, wow, people have actually taken it. The stack
They're
is
paying
pretty far
attention.
down. I'll have to
Yeah.
go replenish it now."
Well, we'll make sure that all your socials are hooked up and mentioned on this episode as part of, when we
Absolutely.
release it. So, but thank you. But Annalise Financials, that sounds like the best place to take a run at trying to get a hold of you.
Yep.
Annalise, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on this morning, for telling us your story. It's very personal. I very much appreciate it. I know the work you're doing, like I said, is really important, especially for young women and helping women business owners and breaking down those barriers around financial literacy and proper financial planning. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here, and I'm excited to continue to watch you grow.
Same. Thank you so much for having me. This was a great experience, and I look forward to more conversations with you, more connections. And I definitely have a couple people in mind that I would love to
Perfect.
get you talking
Love
to
it.
as well.
Love it.
So,
More conversations, more connections, more everything. There's more to life, right,
yep,
Annalise? There's
there's
more to
more
life.
to life. There's more to
All
life.
right. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Thank you.